In this video I'm going to add the hour indicators to our clock so that on the clock face here, which is currently blank, we're going to have the 12, 3, 6 to 9 o'clock as major indicators, and then these other hour points as perhaps smaller indicators. And for the indicators we're going to use a little bone graphic. So I'm going to zoom in a bit closer on the clock here so it's a little easier for me to proceed. So let's just put a bounding box there to indicate our zoom level. If I just select this bone here, the first thing to highlight is that the center point of this bone, which is this square here, is actually on this center line here, because when I imported this graphic I said I wanted the width of the bone to be 40 millimeters. But in terms of the height positioning, you can see that this selection point, the center of the graphic, which is also in line with these resize handles, is slightly below this blue grid line, and so I need to make sure that I can actually position this bone so that the center point of the bone is exactly on the grid, and that's one of the challenges I'm going to have to overcome in this little tutorial. So I'm going to move that bone out of the way to begin with. And what I want to do actually is just start by generating like an indicator, a point which is going to define where, for example, my 12 o'clock indicator is going to be. So I'm going to come to a line tool here just in black. I'm going to turn on grid lock, and my thinking is that what I want to do is probably drop it, probably have an endpoint around about there. Okay, so why have I done that? Well, now I can pick up this bone, can bring it along. I'm going to turn off grid lock, and I'm going to turn on the attach tool. And now I'm going to click on the center of that bone, and notice there's now a square just surrounding my mouse, which is that little four-way arrow there, four-directional arrow. And I'm going to make it so that when I drop this, the end of that black line is within that square. Now, technically I'd drop it there, but I'm purposefully going to drop it off to the side, so you can see that when I do this, it will attach the center of that square to the end of a line. Here we go. Click. And now what's happened is that bone has now precisely positioned itself at the end of that line. Now technically I can now delete that line, but I'll leave it there a bit longer because I might need to come back to it. What I also want to do is rotate this bone, and I want to make it so that obviously it's pointing vertically up. Now I could do that by selecting it, and I could come to the transformation tools, go to rotate selected objects, specify 90 degrees, and then I can, because I know it's on the grid now, come to my grid lock and then click right there, and that will rotate it. Another way I can do this as well is I can turn on radial lock, this tool here, and I can now click on the bone, and I think I'll turn this clockwise actually this time, and notice now that that has also just rotated that, and that's now precisely lined up. Now I'm happy with the size of this. Should it be a little bit smaller? I'm not entirely sure. I think I'm going to keep it that size for the time being, but maybe I should make it a bit smaller. I don't know, we'll see. So now I need to make it so that this bone, come on, can I select the bone? It's not, there we are, it's a bit difficult to select that, so maybe I am going to delete that line. There we go, now I can select that bone more easily. Okay, so now I need to rotate this round, so it's going to be at the 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock points. And at this point it would be useful to know where the center of the circle is. Now one way I could do that would be to get some straight lines and turn off the radial lock here, because that's otherwise going to cause me a problem. Grid lock turned on, I could just run some lines diagonally from one corner of this square to the other, which defines the size of my clock, and that gives me the center point. I could do that. Because everything's working on the grid though, another way I could do this, no, I'll stick with that idea. Let's undo the last there. Unfortunately, with this version of 2D design, I can only undo once, so I'm going to have to manually bring that line in again. No, I'll leave them there, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, right, so let's select the bone now. Let's come to my transformation tool. I'm going to use the rotate the selected objects through 90 degrees, but I'm going to repeat this a total of 3 times. So I keep the original 12 o'clock, it's going to go anti-clockwise, it's going to go to the 9 o'clock, then the 6, then to the 3 o'clock point. Click on OK, select the center to indicate the center of rotation, and those are my major hour indicators. And then now I need to do the other individual hours. So for this, I think what I'm going to do, with gridlock turned on, I'm going to duplicate this. Notice it's still snapping to the grid. I can see there that the center of that shape is snapping to the grid. Now I'm going to come back to my transformation tool. Let's come to alter the size of the selected objects. Let's put this down to 0.75 or 3/4 of the original size. I'm just going to replace it, and I'm going to click right in the middle there. Now let's have a see. Let's bring this back up to there. So that's my smaller hour. Yeah, I'm happy with this. And then let's now again do this rotation. Now, what I could do, I'll do this in two ways. One thing I could do here is come to rotate the selected objects. Now, I want this to be on the 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour, but I'm actually going to rotate it just so it goes onto the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to overlay itself on the existing bones. And let's see, if I want to have 1, 2, 3 bones over 90 degrees, that's 90 divided by 3, that's 30 degrees per rotation. And I want to repeat this a total of 11 times because I already have the 12th bone in place. Center of rotation. There we go. And then now what I could do is I could delete these smaller bones. Okay, so that would be one way of doing it. But it's a matter. But I'm going to show you another way as well. Whoops, a daisy! I've just deleted that line by mistake, and it's too late for me to undo it. Okay, I'll have to just redraw it again. Another way you could do this would be to, and I've deleted the, dear me, I've deleted the small bone that I made. Right, let's go ahead and resize it again now. Look, here we go. Let's do a resize. 75%. Now I'm going to have to repeat it because I don't want to delete the original bone. There it is. Okay. So let's take that smaller bone. Let's rotate it. Now I'm just going to replace it through 30 degrees. So there's my 11 o'clock. Now what I'm going to do with this is rotate this another 2 times to give me the, no, another once to give me the 10 o'clock. And then now I'm going to select both, so shift select this one, and I want to rotate this through 90, 1, 2, 3 times. Et voila. So there's another way of doing it. I guess that's a bit more complicated, but I feel as if it's kind of more of a pure way of doing it. So that's got my bones in place. I'm going to stop this video now, and we'll see where we carry on next time.